know who this lovely here, Nicole Deem, has agreed to do Grow Your Database with Ignite. How's it going so far?
Very good.
Good, you guys
Very good.
learning stuff, you're
Yeah,
getting
it's
something
good.
from it. You should have a couple people that'll pop in late, and then you got your people online.
Cool.
And
We have a chat.
welcome Sheldon. Oh. open house
Oh,
day.
look at
That's
that.
the man.
Awesome, awesome. All right, I'll leave you to it.
Super cool. Okay, good afternoon, I guess. Today has already flown by. I feel like it's already like 5 o'clock. Okay, so I am Nicole Deem. I am the agent services coordinator and market center tech trainer for our market center, basically. I have had the pleasure of teaching this before, and I also chose it to teach for train the trainer advanced, which was very exciting, but a much more condensed version. So I am excited about it. It's something I'm passionate about. Obviously, your databases are the most important thing in your business. If you don't have a database, then you don't have a business. If you're not putting people into your database, constantly having those relationships with them and connecting with them, then it can be pretty hard to grow your business. So just want to get started here. Any questions before we get started? Cool. Let's see if this is gonna go for me. Hello? Oh, no. Okay. Obviously telemarketing and stuff, TCPA compliance, friendly, and TCPA, do not call list, making sure that you are registered for do not call list. You can do it yourself because it does have 2-code verification. So do highly recommend just getting your own accounts. I believe they're free still. I just never know. Things they are.
I'm sorry, no, when you say that, when you mean register, that I would be able to check numbers by it? Like.
Yep, do not call list.
Awesome, I didn't know you could do that.
Yep.
So,
We have tried our best to have one as a market center.
Yeah.
And then basically sending out the list, but they don't convert very well, and we have to have 2-step authentication. So if we sent it out to people, then Shannon was getting text messages all throughout the day, and she had no idea who was needing that. So just recommend, I believe if you just literally Google do not call list Missouri, then you can find it there. Of course, our notices and stuff continued and continued. These are actually new slides. These were not in my information. Oh, fair housing, making sure that we're compliant with all of that. And then of course, all the new NAR laws and everything that we need to be taking into consideration, making sure that all documents are signed before showing homes. AI disclaimers, these are all like brand new. Copyright again, making sure that you're giving credit to anybody if you are utilizing them. Okay, now here we are. Okay, so now we are learning more about our database and how it affects your real estate business. In the last session, you learned about lead generation, how all leads you gather must go somewhere to be stored and organized. And of course, to continue to communicate with them. Once they are captured in that container, then your database, you can leverage your database to cultivate new relationships, continuing the relationships you already have. And of course, the biggest thing is repeat and referral business. You can't get much better than that. If you have a great system for following up with past clients, then you will have an amazing repeat and referral business. Before we begin, let's hear about some progress with your success systems. Have we been doing our success systems, which is your contacts, your note cards, things like that? Is there anybody have a win since we've kind of been doing this for like a week now?
Success system. The 6 things on the back of our homework or whatever.
See, I wasn't here on the very first one. Was that on the first one?
So they go through the 5-3-1 or the 10-5-1, 10 likes, 5 comments, 1 direct message or something like that on Facebook, the 10 contacts added to your database.
Yep.
10
10
phone calls, 10
conversations.
cards.
Yep, 10 conversations with your sphere, 10 contacts added to your database, 10 handwritten notes, and then utilizing the 10-5-1 social media engagement.
So I have, I guess, the first few days I was able to max out all 10 of my thank you cards. Cool. And really got on there, and I think I kind of made up for a day that I was lacking thereof, and just one day made like 19 contacts.
Awesome.
And then I don't know, it's been roller coaster, especially with open houses and everything.
Okay, I mean, those are still conversations, like if you have 10 people come through your open house and
Is
you're
that 20
adding,
contacts or 10 couples is 20 contacts, right?
technically, if you're getting both, if you're
Very
getting
good.
both, if you're getting both spouses' information,
Oh, okay.
you have to get both, because you have to put them both in there.
I mean, technically, a conversation is a conversation. right?
Correct,
So-
correct, correct. So yeah, I mean, if you're talking to those people coming through your open houses, or you're talking, I mean, this can even be somebody at like the grocery store, you give them your business card, or you get their information. Those are conversations. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do we have the postcards this year? The little,
Yep,
Okay.
they are upstairs. I don't know if Shanna's keeping them in her office this time or how she's doing it, but yes. Yeah, we do have a lot upstairs, all ready to go.
awesome, fantastic.
Awesome. Okay, so today's agenda, by the end of the session, you will be able to identify the key information you need for each contact in your database. That's one thing I talk about a lot. Determining categories and segments for the contacts in your database, and then building your business by asking your sphere for repeat and referral business. Here, I'm gonna get this too. This is this sheet that I have, anybody who's online, I will grab your names and I will email it to you. This is tag ideas, also color coded and everything, because it's gonna come into play with like your categories, your segments. That's what we call tags, or your categories, right? So, I actually got this from a 30-60-90 that I did, at the beginning of the year. I think this year or last year, I can't remember. And I kind of just tweaked it a little bit, and it's really nice if you do need help with like, I don't know, organizing your database, which is another thing I talk about all the time. Okay, to start thinking about what you will learn today, let's consider what questions you might have, or about what your database is and what else you'd like to learn more. Is there anybody who like has something specific that they want to talk about or learn about database today?
Well, during Bold, I misunderstood that when you add someone to your database, you literally just go get, like, I've got a program where you circle the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And it gives you all the contact information.
Okay,
I didn't know adding that counted for my you know what I mean, adding.
yeah,
So I thought you had to like contact, speak with them, and they were like kind of a lead kind of deal. So I was overthinking it a little bit.
yeah, I mean, okay, so yes, you're adding them to your database, but you should also be communicating with them in some way.
Awesome.
Sending them an email, sending them a text message, calling them or anything like that, because that is a two-way conversation technically, and that's what we call that. Yes, leads is information that you have received, but you have not contacted.
I got you. So it wasn't, I was thinking like they had to like, maybe not have intent to do business with you, but you thought maybe in the future, but, so I can literally start just adding contacts from, and then.
Yeah, put them on drip
'cause
campaigns.
I cold called like 50 people last week, so, awesome. That would have,
That's great.
I would have passed Bold if I'd done that right. That's cool.
Well, I mean, and there's some different clarifications and stuff with
Oh,
what
yeah,
Bold
it's got its
requires.
own, Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, you still got the contacts, you're still talking to them,
Yes,
you're still making the
yes.
conversations, that's the whole point.
Yes.
Cool.
200 number, right?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Have you guys been doing like the partner work and stuff in class?
No, really.
Okay, some of it I do, I'm gonna have you do a couple of the activities. A couple of them I just don't love. So, and this can also be like just a quick little couple of minutes, and then I like to write a few things on the board, because again, it goes with like categories and segments and like making sure that you're giving value back to your database. Another thing that's really important. Okay, cool. Make sure I didn't move anything on that page. Okay, does somebody want to read the quote for me on the board, on the TV?
Your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it and a relationship with those names is really at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of your database as your business?
A pipeline.
Yeah.
A little bit, pipeline, is that what you said? Okay, cool. It's true, just like I said, with no database, you have no business. I feel like it's kind of like a juggling plates type thing, right? Like you've got maybe a couple buyers here and you've got a listing and stuff coming up, but like if you're not putting it in your database, then like you're just juggling all of it in the air, right? And you're having to remember those things. Now, luckily with Command, you do have to input a lot of things, so you should be utilizing it and putting them in, or else you're not getting paid or you're not getting your documents and things that you need. So makes it a lot easier that we kind of force you to use your database. But basically the number of names that you have in your database and the relationship that you have with them, it just helps build your business and your success. You're gonna hear me say this a lot all day because it's basically what I'm talking about is growing your database. So today you're gonna learn how to feed and care for your database, which will turn into a data bank. Probably my other favorite word, data bank. And then that technically should be predictably drawing more business, right? Pretty exciting, I know. Very, very cool. But again, it is a passion of mine, so. Okay, so in the previous session, lead generation, you got your first taste of what a database is and talked about a few ways to add people to your database throughout your day, right?
Yes.
Probably. Okay, cool. If they follow the instructions, which I have to say, they have rewritten this so many times, and this is my favorite way that they've rewritten it. It really does just capitalize on everything. So we're going to be going deep into how to bring you new repeat and referral business today. But first, we'll take a look at the big picture of what a database is and how you should be using one in your business. No questions, right? Still nothing? Cool. Okay, database is a container, looks just like this, that holds the contact information for all of your leads and contacts. We distinguish people differently based on how we know them or how we have permissions to connect with them. Number one is a lead, which we have spoke about that a little bit. Does anybody want to give a good definition of a lead that they maybe have run across in other previous material or anything like that? I also said it a little bit ago.
So from what I understand, someone has shown interest in the services you offer and whom you can contact. You have the right to a one-on-one conversation with them.
Okay, is that written in your book?
Yes.
Okay, I never know like what pieces like are filled out for you and what aren't.
So
Okay,
I have the
yes.
2022 model that
Okay.
was given by Danielle. And so
Okay.
this is the 2024, so I don't know if the slides and what's corresponding.
No, it should be all the same. I have 2024.
Okay.
But no, yeah, exactly. They're expressing interest. They've given you the permission to reach out to them, either social media, marketing profile, platforms, website, word of mouth. You haven't established a relationship with them just yet. However, you do have the right to have a one-way conversation with them. Great job. What about contacts? What are they? Who wants to read from their lovely book that's probably written in?
Someone that you've had a two-way conversation with and whom you have established a value-based relationship with your sphere of influence.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, SOI, right? We talk about that all the time. Those are your friends, your family members, maybe people that you've worked with in the past, people that you have had their contact information before even getting into real estate, right? Many top agents have successful businesses because of their SOI, sphere of influence. That's why we also say whenever you join KW, and people ask me all the time, like, do you have lead systems? Do you have lead platforms? And I was like, no, because us at KW really like to think about having that natural relationship that you're already building with people that you already know. Yes, having lead platforms and stuff sometimes, like we have a lot of agents that do purchase leads, and they have good success with it. But when you're first getting started, you might not have the funds in order to do that. So we always just say, your sphere of influence, let's reach out to those people first, because also they might not be ready to buy or sell, and somebody that they know might be. So you just have to get it into their mind that you're an agent. Okay, cool. The words on here are so big because I have the presenter view and I have to scroll and I'm like, where am I at? Okay. So let's go ahead and turn to your lead generation database model. Yep, I don't know what page it is for you guys.
Should be 6-3, I think.
Okay, cool. So who can explain to me what this model talks about or like what it actually means?
This is the process as which to a lead comes in,
Okay.
lead generation after taking a two-way conversation, I was cultivating contacts for further conversation. So you're getting into that mindset, or not mindset, but they're actually ready to move forward and actually start talking and discussing about these things, setting up a game plan. And then,
Yeah.
after you've closed, obviously you have, referrals that come from that go back through the top and go back through your pipeline.
Cool, yeah, great job. Who can explain to me, using this model, where your database is basically represented? Is it lead generation, relationship management, client and referral loops? Like, where is your business at currently?
I have tons of contacts, preparing
Okay.
contacts for conversion.
Okay, so yours would probably be relationship management,
Sure.
okay? There are people that you
Uh,
already know. Lead generation is kind of what I would like to say is like your cold calling, or you're getting leads from social media or something like that. Like, that's what I consider more of like lead generation in this instinct, because obviously your relationship management, the people that are already in your database, those are people that you are managing your relationship with them, right? You're trying to grow it to that point. Cool. Anybody else? Anybody have a repeat or referral client yet?
Not yet.
Okay, cool. Well, then we're gonna talk more about how to get those today. Such a great thing.
I've been referred people before, but they've never made it through the whole system, you know, they've never,
Okay.
yeah, they've never
Yeah.
survived it, whatever we want to say.
They never cultivated into active.
Yeah, well, you know, some people you show homes, they can't get the loan or whatever, you know what I mean,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, absolutely. But keep working on those
Yeah,
people.
that's
You never
right, they
know.
can stay there, so.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. Okay, so your database is all about relationship management. The relationships you build and develop will grow through new repeat referral business. Your database is key to your business and does a lot for you. It helps keep you organized, keeps a comprehensive record of communication and the relationship through systematized communication. Helps automate other tasks. So obviously we know that you can put task reminders and stuff through your database that you currently have with KW, which I believe is on our next slide. We're gonna talk about that. And it's a well-maintained database, holds value and can be sold to if you ever choose to retire. So I haven't had much experience with that, but it is something kind of cool to think about. Like, if you have a database, if you've been in real estate for 10 years, you can always sell it to somebody else and be like, hey, they're taking over my business, right? It definitely beats sticky notes, notepads of names. I mean, I know a lot of people coming from other companies and stuff, they do keep like Google Sheets, which is nice because then they can just easily import those right into Command. But it's pretty amazing to see, like, other companies, technically, sometimes they don't have that database for you, right? They don't have that technology. But it helps just make sure that you're systematized and you're organized, which is the key. And that's why we talk about Command. So you have definitely learned that Command is a smart database that KW makes available to you. If you didn't know, Keller Williams owns KW Command, obviously. I believe they're the only real estate company that actually owns their own CRM. So that's pretty awesome. How many of you have gotten in Command and utilized it, put a contact and,
I feel like
smart
I'm
plan?
utilizing about 35%.
Okay.
It just be not, not because I don't want to, it's just not being familiar with
Okay,
that.
you and I can set up time one-on-one, we can
I
go
know.
through it.
I know, I need to.
Yeah,
Well, and I talked to Shanna about linking both me and Candy's Command
yes,
together, so
Yep.
I need to do that.
we can create a team. Yeah. Sometimes with married couples, I never know, because I know usually, especially like you both kind of got in the business pretty close together. But yes, I highly recommend that. And that way you're only utilizing technically like one command.
Mhm.
And it's coming from you as a team. But yes, that's awesome. So Command is basically a database of names and contact information that we use to build that relationship. There's also goal tracking, task managers, marketing suite of newsletters, which is designs. Yeah, marketing suite, and it's also through campaigns too. So you utilize designs, you build something pretty, and then you can send it out through campaigns if you want to. Referral network, which is awesome. Love our referral network if you are looking to refer business to another agent in another state or another area. Really cool, easy to use. And it's ever evolving. Just like anything else, it's constantly updating. I do talk about that usually on Tuesdays during my tech time during team meeting. But that's what's great about it too. It's just like any other system or any other piece of technology, it's always gonna continue. Okay, so next we're gonna talk about the 4 laws of the database. Go ahead and turn to that page in your book. Okay, so let's talk about how we make this happen. So these are the 4 laws of a database. Number 1 is build a database. Number 2 is feed it every day. 3 is communicate systematically. And then 4 is service all the leads that come your way. So pretty self-explanatory. Is there any questions on this type of slide?
Well, I mean, feed it every day and communicate it with it seem kind of the same thing, are they not, or?
Feeding it means you're adding new content.
Oh, I got you, right,
Yes.
that makes sense, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I totally understand. And again, I learned this in 30, 60, 90 when I did a tech thing, so that's why I also kind of have a little bit more background on it. But yes, building a database is basically making sure that you have one, but then feeding it every day is you're adding more context to it or updating the information, right? Like they get new information. Like what if you had a transaction with somebody, then you're like, oh, I need to go update their address and I need to put in their home anniversary. That's, you know, feeding it every day. You are updating the information in it. Communicating systematically is more smart plans and campaigns. And then servicing it basically is just continuing to make sure that you're keeping that relationship and talking to your database or the people in it. Any ahas for the beginning? Yeah.
So one thing I'm really trying to wrap around, I started doing this last week, is integrating everybody into a smart plan.
Okay.
But as I imported everybody from my phone and have been adding, you know, as I add something, generally I'll put them on some type of smart plan, but
Good.
I don't want to add 277 people in one day to a smart plan. Cause that means that every third time I'm supposed to contact them, text them, I'm sending 277 text messages. So
I
I'm
think
trying
we've talked
to,
about this before. You can
like,
stagger start.
that's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
space it out a little bit. So
Yeah.
what, I mean, should I take that and divide that number into, 10 and start working on?
I say
those
start
and
smaller.
putting them in there?
If you're continually
4.
feeding your database, then
Right.
you should be starting out with like 4 or 5 a day. And this is only for like quarterly call plan. I don't really, unless
Right.
you're like building out your own, but like quarterly call plan, you can also tag. So you see over here on the far left side, this black boxes, DTD2.
Right.
So you can filter and then add the tag for that. And then you can go back and be like, okay, all of these people I'm gonna contact this week or something like that. And if you have a contact or something that rolls over to a next day, I mean, it's not like it's going away. It tells you it's past due. So it's not that big of a deal, but I say start smaller and then that way, like you're getting up to 10, 15, 20 people a day.
Right. Can you do maybe sometime, can you spend some time sharing how we can create our own smart plans? Because after going through RISE, I think there's a lot of great things that James Shaw was talking about, whether it's like sending someone a text message for
Yeah.
Valentine's Day and.
So
or
yes, so I highly recommend the Smart Plans library because I guarantee that that has already been built out. So there's an entire library within Smart Plans and you can search for what you're specifically looking for. And then you can go in and update whatever that text message says, or like your timeframes, or if you want to add an email and a phone call to a smart plan, you can. I will say, I know that there's some already in there because I see the holiday ones and stuff a lot. However, unless it's a Keller Williams created smart plan, there is not a way to do time triggers right now. So Keller Williams has a birthday and a home anniversary smart plan. It time triggers on an algorithm on the back end. So that way a week before their birthday, it will send you a task. Does that make sense? I don't know how that looks for other holidays. However, I do know that there's some in there and you can also filter by year. So like somebody's probably already created 2025, at least first quarter or second quarter. But yes, there should be some already in there. If there's not, Scott Leroy Marketing has great videos, or answers.kw.com. I don't think I can say it enough. Answers.kw.com is my absolute favorite website ever. And I do a lot of shopping. So answers.kw.com. If you search smart plans, it will tell you how to create your own step by step with photos. And that's why I really like those too. Oh, we have another question about this. Sheldon, I'll get to yours in just a second. What's great about that is like, it does show you step by step. Sometimes there's even moving images and stuff like that. But either them or Scott Leray Marketing, I also really like their videos. I just go to their YouTube and they update them weekly. So pretty good there. But yes, if you need further help on it, totally fine. I haven't taught a smart plan class in a while, just because I didn't really get very much attendance. So I usually try to go for like a newer or updated. So I taught a couple website classes, or I do DocuSign, because we have a lot of agents who are still using like other e-signatures. So yeah, okay, Sheldon, for further help with developing smart plans, is there an area that we can meet with you on? Yeah, so I am in conference room 5 every Monday at 10 a.m. 10 to 11. I'm just sitting in conference room 5. Today I was kind of prepping for this and I was ordering our Halloween costumes for next week. So very multitasking. Yeah.
I thought smart plans, I thought they were automated. Does it only automate?
They are automated.
Okay.
They are automated. However, if you're trying to be like, hey, on Valentine's Day, I want this smart plan to be sent out, then you have to do like some math with it.
Well, I mean, yeah, but it only adds a task. It doesn't like physically text people, because I thought it used to, or.
It can, you just
okay,
have to subscribe to that.
Okay, gotcha. I
You have
understand.
Twilio. If you use Twilio, then it will automatically text it out.
Awesome. That's where I was
Yeah.
getting at. I remember we did used to use that, so.
Yeah.
Twilio.
Yeah, but every Monday I am in conference room 5 for a whole hour. I had some people come last week and some printer help. I mean, I can do it. I can show you anything. But no, yeah, come see me there. Any other questions before we move on? We're gonna get into the actual 4 laws a little bit more. Well, actually a lot more. We're diving into each of them. Okay, so first is, of course, 4 laws of database. We already talked about that. That's kind of where we're going. So first, we're gonna talk about building your database. You've already started doing this, like, especially if you've been in coaching with Shanna, which I think everybody is in coaching. Basically, phone conversations that you've been making, conversations that you've had with your sphere of influence, other success system activities, and of course, making sure that we recommend that Command is your database, and it's at, we say no cost, but you do have a tech fee, because that's just included with a bunch of other things, but no extra cost. It's great and it's life-changing for you to be utilizing it. Okay, the first thing is to put in your database your sphere of influence, which is what you talk about. At a minimum, each contact should have these 4 things, which is of course a name. I recommend a full name, like a first name, last name, not just a first, because you're not gonna probably know. Contact information, so that is, who can tell me the best contact information to have?
Email address, phone number,
Okay, a home address? Yep.
mailing address.
Yep, perfect. And then of course, past record of business, if any. So if you have worked with them in the past somewhere else even, that works out great too. But of course, if it is a past client of yours, I recommend adding a tag that says past client. I recommend like past client 2024. Makes it a little bit easier. And then updating that as needed. Again, making sure we're updating their home address and their home anniversaries and putting them on those smart plans. Works out so easy. Has everybody added a contact to Command? Okay, cool. Everyone online, have you all added a contact to Command? You don't have to be shy. You can also come unmute. Cool, love it. Okay, we're not gonna do that activity then because I pretty much already show it. If you meet with me, then I show you how to do it and I know that you've already been doing it. Now, extra things that I usually recommend for contacts is a birthday. If you can find their birthdays, easy way to find them is Facebook. You go to Facebook. I mean, every morning it tells me like in my notifications, and it's probably my favorite thing because I go and like start writing on everyone's walls, just like the people who I know or who I do communicate with. Like, I mean, a few people are from like way back in my past. And if I was a real estate agent, I would communicate with them. So I would recommend doing that. But it makes it so easy. It literally comes up as a notification with you, for you, and then you just write on them. If they own or rent, that's another good one to put on there. If you know that information, and potentially for how long they've been renting or how long they have lived in their home. And then something that we do talk about every once in a while is the Ford method. And I talk about this too. Remember your description that's inside of your contact. I always recommend to talk about these things or have this somewhere in their contact card. Does anybody know what Ford stands for?
Family, occupation, recreation, dreams.
Yep. So family, occupation. What did you say for R?
Recreation.
Recreation, okay, yeah.
So it's actually form, FORMM, and the last two should be mirror and motivation. So just like dreams, right?
Huh,
But you're also matching.
I've never
their
heard form.
FORMM, so matching their motivation as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, no, it's true. Where do they wanna be in life at some point? Do they wanna invest? Do they want to buy a home for their child? Do they want to buy a home for their parents? Like whatever it is. Or do they wanna have a vacation home? Like, things like that. So this is what I typically recommend, like in that description, putting like family, like if they have kids, if they have pets, which I guess would go under like recreation. No, they're family. My dogs are my family. I love them. Eight what?
dogs?
No, I have two.
Oh.
Oh my gosh,
I know,
no.
I was like, that's.
I
a
can barely even
handful.
handle two.
Yeah.
Literally barely handle two. Occupations and stuff, that's always good to put. There is a whole part for that, like in your contact card. It has job, and you can also put like what title and stuff they have. Recreation is also really great to put in the description. If they golf, if they have season tickets to the Chiefs games, if they like to go to the Bahamas every January because they hate the snow, whatever it is. And then of course, yeah, dreams like we already just talked about. Awesome. Other families' names, that goes along with the Ford, so it works out good. Okay. Building your database. So
So what was the fourth thing?
what?
So there was 4 things for your contact that your database should include. You said birthday, how long they own or rent, and then Ford. What was the 4th thing?
Well, it says, so it has birthday, owner, rent, Ford, and then family names, family member names. But if you're already hitting Ford, then that would already get that one. I think it was just reiterating it on here. Okay, so different options on how to build your database. So you can enter your contacts manually. Works perfectly fine, especially if you are meeting people at open houses, unless you are using like the open house input forms, which I know yours, have you got it back to working? Your open house input form? Okay, did you reach out to KW support?
I have, and they were trying to connect with each other, but I did find that specifically on my tablet, if you just scroll down to about mid-page, there's a little thing that they can fill out.
Contact you.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I don't know what it tags, is it just coming through website? Like it tags them as website?
from my website.
Okay, because the open house one, it tags them as open house. So, okay, so you can enter contacts manually, but if you do a paper sheet, then that's the same thing. You just go and put their information in after your open houses. You can sync them with a third-party company, or you can import them using the KW Command app, which just syncs directly with your contacts in your phone. And that one's a little tricky, like it's a great quick option because I always say, especially like when you're first getting started, you're like, I don't know who to put in here, and then you only have like 10 people in there because you put like yourself, maybe your spouse, maybe like a couple friends, a couple family members. But importing your database into Command fully is the quickest way to kind of get started, right? And then you can go back through and you can archive, you can update their information, because if before you were an agent, you probably weren't thinking about getting people's emails when you were adding them into your phone, right? So that's just something that it is a little, you have to go back and clean it up. But once you do, then that way you already know, okay, these are the things I always need. Whenever you get a contact, you're always gonna ask for these as much as you feel like you can. Like, oh, what's your birthday? Oh, I wanna put it in there because I wanna send you a card, whatever it is. You can easily add personal details to each of the contacts. There's a lot of different areas to put that in there. And then, of course, we have our notes section. So you can also utilize your notes for initial meetings or kind of what they're looking for or searching for. It talks about the MCTT, that's me. So if you have any issues or questions about importing contacts, then we can go ahead and work through that. Okay, so checking out Command, your database on Connect. So KW Connect does have a lot of like series training that you can also do on your own time. They do have a Command Your Database on Connect, and you can find it under technology. Kind of works out well if you're wanting more information on this, but just keep going through Ignite. You're probably gonna find exactly what you need. Okay, cool. Any ahas or questions before we move on to the next section? Cool. I'm just checking, because I made notes on my own, and so I'm making sure I have all of those. Okay, so turn to feed your database page in your guide. The second law is to feed your database. Who remembers from the previous session, what are 2 pathways for feeding leads or contacts into your database? Okay,
Via website.
okay. So prospecting and marketing?
Oh, sure.
Yep, prospecting is, yep. I was like, is this written on there? I don't even know. Prospecting and marketing feed your marketing it, feed your database, right? So we talk about social media a lot. It's pretty easy to put social media posts out there just to see if anyone's like wanting to reach out. Again, there's a lot of different options for social media though. On InDesigns, like in Command, there's an entire list of all the holidays, and it's already pre-created content for you that you can actually take and put onto your story or onto your timeline or your feed for every holiday every month. So it's pretty nice. We tend to use some of it too, but it's already done for you, so you don't have to do anything. I mean, you can add in like
I love it.
some marketing stuff that's particular or pertains to you, putting in your logo, all of that.
Super easy.
Super easy. Okay, so what does feed your database mean?
Updating your contacts, putting in opportunities. I don't know, there's so many things that you can do for I put a lot of notes in.
Yeah,
specifically.
it's good.
Your conversations, logging your conversations, your emails, if you're sending letters, anything directly to them, that way you can see a timeline of how long and often you've been talking to that person.
Yeah. Nope, for sure. You add all the people you know, your sphere of influence, and then you add everybody else that you encounter. So your database, kids' parents, children's teachers, coworkers, people that you know from your neighborhood. Neighborhood ones are great, right? Making sure that they know that you're an agent. Or like if you're door knocking and stuff for an open house, say like, hey, I've got do a few homes right around it. Works out really well too. Okay, so prospecting is actively seeking leads and building relationships through your conversations. Prospecting is cost effective, and you are able to directly hear if and when a person is ready, or is able, ready, and willing to do business. Marketing is a passive pathway for feeding your database. So just remember that, right? Obviously prospecting, you're going out for that. You're going out to find that information. But marketing is just a passive way that people can then be transported to you to tell you that they're ready to buy or sell. So now we're going to talk about the value of your sphere. Your sphere will generate new, repeat, and referral business. And it's basically, so it's accomplished economically by asking people you know, who they know, and who might benefit from your services. Basically, if you're not asking for that business, then I don't really know what else to say. It's gonna end there. You have to ask them for their business, but then you also have to see who do you know that I can help find a new home or get into investing or whatever it is. So new business comes when someone in your sphere begins thinking about buying or selling and they think of you. Repeat business obviously comes from clients you've helped in the past that they really enjoyed working with you. And then referral business is of course information or business that comes to you from clients or friends that have used you or know that you are an agent. I'm gonna sit down for a second, so my legs are starting to hurt. Who might your sphere refer you to?
Your friends,
Okay,
colleagues,
Okay.
coworkers,
yep,
if they're working with. recreation.
neighbors, yeah, people that you know. And how do you ensure that that your sphere will refer you?
It's your quarterly calls.
Okay,
Let's say stay top of mind, it's kind of the same thing, but I was gonna say stay top of mind.
Stay top of mind, yeah.
It's kind of the same thing you're saying, so.
yep. Asking for the business, right? You have to ask for it. We're gonna talk here a little bit about testimonials, and reviews, because those go a long way too, and there are spots to put it on your websites. Or like if you get a Google business page, it's really great there. Making sure I don't miss anything. Your sphere generally wants to help you, and you can easily feed your database with referrals from them. Obviously, if they're friends or family members or something, then they know that you're an agent and they know that you can do a great job and that your character is awesome, they're going to refer that to you, which is awesome. Okay, ways to feed your database. Okay, so this is talking about testimonials. Testimonials are really great too. Now, we've talked about, I know Shana and I have talked about this in some previous sessions that we've taught before. If you have not had a real estate transaction yet, but you are working with somebody currently, then you can always ask them like, hey, I just want to see how this is going. Would you mind writing a review or a testimonial for how this process has been so far? If you don't have even a current client that you're working with, people that you've worked with in the past, or even if you have friends or family members that want to write something, because having your character be exemplified in a testimonial, then that's also just as good, because people want to work with good people, right? It doesn't have to be like, oh my gosh, like I've had 17 listings in the past 6 months, like I'm so great at getting listings, but no, it's like this person was really easy to work with, they communicate well. That can be in your day-to-day life or even your previous work life. Offering an item of value related to real estate on social media. So obviously I always talk about on your social media, you shouldn't just be asking if somebody wants to buy or sell or invest or, you know, any of that. Because, and it's fine to do that every once in a while, but of course you want to be adding value. What's really great is that our market center does share out our numbers or the numbers from the previous week. They do share that out on social media. You're more than welcome to take that information, make it your own. You can create a similar template that you're just basically plugging it in there. I believe that there's one on designs, but it's just easy ways that you're showing like, this is my value. Monthly neighborhood nurture smart plans. Also really great, easy value. And you're also not having to do anything with that, except for making sure that those people have a neighborhood connected to them and you have an email address. That's it. So making sure that we're continuing to add value to your relationships is probably key. Yes, communicating with them is great, but we're going to talk about that here in actually just a second on how to categorize people. So then that way you are sending the correct information utilizing tags. Okay, cool. All right, so this is more talking about testimonials and review activity. So again, we're talking more about what that they can send a testimonial for or review on. So responsiveness, attention to detail, professionalism, empathy, clear communication. Those are all really great things that some of those don't even have to, none of them have to do with being a real estate agent. It's just being a person. So I highly recommend just asking for it. Just like you're asking for the business, ask for the review. Then as you start to get more business, because I do believe on your websites, you can only have up to 10 testimonials, I believe. So you can just go in and update them as you get more from clients. Okay, I'm gonna have you do this activity. So go ahead and take just a couple minutes for brainstorming and write down 5 names that you will ask for a testimonial or a review immediately after class. Okay, that could be a friend, a family member, a previous coworker. Just think of, you don't have to do 5, let's do 2. Okay, and write down maybe 2 names that you can think of that they can write a testimonial or a review for you, so that way you can have something to add to your website, right? We'll take a couple minutes for that and go from there.
Your mom won't write you a review then. I don't know what you're doing.
My mom texts me sometimes, just like motivating things, or just like, I'm so proud of you and how much you juggle or do or whatever, so it's pretty funny. Cool, do we all have 2 names?
You said
Awesome.
5.
Well, I said 5, but then let's start with 2. 2 is better than 0. That's what I say. Okay, so what do you say when someone writes a testimonial review to you? You thank them, right? So expressing gratitude, sending out, postcards and stuff. You can get pretty nice little postcards and stuff created for not very expensive. And I just recommend putting those in the mail. And it's also like after you work with a client, right? Like after you buy or sell a home. Somebody who had a genius idea. So at the end of the year, she always sent out Christmas cards. Or like a thank you for your business this year. She would always send them to her past clients from the year. And at the end of the year, she was like, I'm spending like 2 whole days writing out all these addresses, or at least stuffing them or whatever. She started addressing the envelopes every time after she had a closing. So she was only doing like 2 or 3 maybe a month, or however big her business was at the time. So then that way you already know. And then, you can pre-select your holiday cards at the beginning of the year if you want to. You'll probably get pretty good discounts on them because it's after the holidays. But then she just had them already stacked up and ready to go. And then she stamped them and then put them in the mail right before Christmas. And that way she wasn't spending an entire 2 days doing it. She was just doing it throughout the course of the year. Cool. Remember to leverage your testimonies and reviews on social media and your agent's site, as well as part of your pre-listing and listing packets that you bring with you on appointments. Making sure to have a couple of those pieces in there as well. Just it speaks to your character. All right, any ahas there? To communicate.
The one I was gonna ask you about, that's
Yeah.
supposed to be, it was in shift, prospecting based, how do I go? Prospect based market supported maybe, when you're doing, it's got the pyramid and the bottom is prospecting, and the top of the
Yeah.
pyramid is marketing.
Uh-huh.
He has a phrase for that, that's clever, but I couldn't think of it.
Yeah, and what was it in again?
It's like, it was in shift,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's market, well,
Because marketing,
Prospecting.
remember, is passive, and then prospecting is actually like you going out to get the business.
that's he had a clever little phrase, but I can't think of it right now.
I mean, he always
Should've been
does. Are you talking about James?
No, this one was, actual.
Actually from the book.
Yeah, so prospecting based market something, anyway. I'm gonna read that tonight and then send it.
Yeah, send it to me. Yeah, no, if the 2 books that I highly recommend, when you first get started is obviously the MREA, but then the second one is Shift. We talk about those 2 books probably the most out of all of them. And the one thing's a really great like audiobook. I actually started listening to my first audiobook yesterday, ever. I don't know if I love it, but I'm a reader, but it was nice because I was driving back from St. Louis, so I was able to focus on it. And now I signed up for Audible, so I
I was
guess
gonna say,
I'll.
if you do Audible, you get the 1 free book a month if you're doing
Yes.
that's so.
Yeah, and it's like 1 bestseller, so I don't know. I was like also driving halfway through when I was like trying to subscribe to it, and I'm like, okay, well. Anyways, that's a really great audiobook too, because it does kind of talk about, defining your value, your one thing, which I think Trey spoke on last week. But yeah, it all goes hand in hand. That's the point.
If you have your library card,
Mhm.
there's an app called Libby,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
know.
absolutely free. It's
Yeah.
amazing. You don't
Yeah.
have to pay nothing for it.
yeah. I think I'm giving Audible a try because I don't love audiobooks. Like I'd rather just read.
Yeah.
But
I do both.
I
I'll
was,
read and listen to it
Yeah,
at the same time.
I know a lot of
I'll
people that
zoom
do
right
that.
through it.
It's my message, I don't know what Everrand is, but it's my message on the phone.
Oh. Everrand is really good for audiobooks too, $15 a month for any books you want to read. Oh, that's nice. That's actually really nice because I think Audible, you only get 1. I think you get 1 bestseller and then you can get like 1 self-help book, because I think I have like 3 credits right now. Don't know why. But yeah, super cool. Sorry, just off on another tangent. Okay, third law is to communicate with your database. So obviously, in the previous session, you learned the importance of relationships in real estate, along with the different ways you can communicate with your database called touches. Communicating with your database will be accomplished through those touches, and you will pair those with meaningful, relevant, and timely information. Again, adding value, right? Who would like to read the quote that's on the screen?
To succeed at a high level in real estate sales, you must commit to frequent contact with a database with the intent of building close relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. How long do you think you must commit to building these relationships?
I think it's permanent commitment, or at least, the whole time you're doing it, the whole time you're in this, that's your
business?
career.
Yeah, yep, forever, right? I mean, this could even go into after real estate. What if you decide to do something else? Like you start a different business. Some of those people that you had communicated with for buying and selling, they could also be a good, person for that new business or something else. We'll discuss the model and systems for doing this in the next segment on lead follow-up. But the way to communicate with your database will depend on whether it's with leads or contacts, right? Obviously your contacts are somebody that you already know. Leads are people that you have just been given permission to have that conversation with. So we're focusing on our attention on relationship building and strengthening with our contacts or our sphere, those whom we have permission to have those two-way conversations. As you establish and build relationships and learn more about a person's motivations, dreams, interests, and goals, you will categorize or segment these people, aka tags, which I gave you your little cheat sheet on that. Of course, information that's meaningful and feels personal to them is what they're most likely to respond to, right? And that's why, like, Mike does say, like, in our team meetings and stuff, he sends out a text message on, like, holidays, like, happy Thanksgiving, what are you bringing to family dinner tonight? Happy birthday, how are you celebrating? Merry Christmas, what's your favorite, like, holiday treat or sweet or something like that? Asking the question, and that way you do get that conversation back. And then that can also go into something else, or like, what did you ask for Christmas? It's just funny. And then that can obviously stem into a different conversation though, a more meaningful one, which is like, oh, I asked for a new house. Okay, great, you're working with an agent. You just never know. But it just makes them feel closer to you because again, building those relationships is what's important. Okay, so I am gonna have you guys do this little activity, which is basically what are some segments or categories you might already naturally have in your database. An easy one is homeowners versus renters, right? How about those with children versus those without? So what are some ways that you are currently segmenting your database, or what are some ideas of ways that you want to segment your database? Basically tagging.
Sure.
Go ahead and take a couple minutes and like think about it, and then we'll go ahead and come back. Yeah. I like this one because I'm telling you, tags are so important. If you're not tagging your database, then there's not an easy way to systematize or to send out communication to them, like emails, text messages, phone calls and stuff. Like this is particularly in regards to that. Also, I will be done by 2 o'clock today because I have a call. So don't worry. We don't have at least by 2 o'clock. Okay, does anyone want to share how you're currently segmenting your database? Something maybe that's off, like, not past client or something. Is there something specific that you have created?
So as I acquire different types of lead sources and stuff like that, whether it be Realtor.com, Zillow, or anything like that, specifically tagging my lead source, where it's coming from, where it's top producer, where it's open house, door knocking. I've specifically created a tag in there, a door knocking neighborhood, whatever.
Cool.
So I know that's where and then I obviously put my notes in there as well.
Okay,
Um,
are you getting their addresses and adding them to the contacts?
for most of the part, yes. If
Okay.
I have their first name and it's a reason for me to follow up or like via this little thing right here, anybody, I don't know. One thing I was thinking about is printing out a map of the neighborhood.
Okay,
And as I'm going through, actually circling which house actually answered their door, that way
Yeah.
I can send something to them later.
yeah,
Using Ben Verified, I can usually find their information pretty quick as far as
Okay.
their first and last name, and I'll just say, hey, the Britt family or whatever, send something
Okay.
to them. For sale by owners,
Okay.
expired leads, renters, buyers, sellers. There's all kinds of different stuff you can tag people in,
yeah,
and it really makes a big difference.
yeah,
Especially when you're looking back at it, but putting for sale by owner on there doesn't mean nothing if you don't have notes behind it too. I
Okay.
mean, that really, I mean, you have to have notes. It
Mhm.
makes a huge difference, especially
Yeah.
communicating notes.
yeah, we'll talk about that one on the next slide. Is there any other specific tags, Justin or Brent, that you have thought about or used?
I tag former agents because,
Former agents,
yeah,
okay,
you know they're referring their business somewhere, you know what I mean, or people call
Okay.
them still, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I do call them every once in a while, remind them what I'm doing.
Yeah.
but-
yeah, that's awesome, great, yeah, build your referral network, I mean, that's the easiest money you can make. Seriously, anyone, and do you have any other additions?
No,
Is
like I
this something
said,
that
my
we need to
knowledge
work
of
on?
command is, you'll be thoroughly disappointed. Besides the couple that I've had buyer agency and my seller agency or whatnot, they're
Yeah, you're like, I
thoroughly
had,
disappointed.
I had to
in
put my
both, so,
contacts in order to create these opportunities and get
Yeah.
my DocuSign accounts going.
Yes.
Okay. We'll work on that, you and me, okay?
Professional network.
You, me, and Candy. Okay, so looking at the list that you just generated, this is an easy way to segment your database with that. Because then that way you know, like these people, I can send out like, Veterans Day is coming. If you know that they were part of the military, then go ahead and tag them military. And then send them something nice, like a nice little email that has a nice Veterans Day graphic, right? It's adding value, but it's also like a personal thing, too, because I know that it probably makes people feel special that you've segmented them in a certain way and you're sending them certain things. If they are a dog lover, they're like Rescue One and stuff, like follow some of those pages, like they do stuff all the time, like Rescue One, they have a 5K every October. So fun, it's not that expensive to be a part of, and it's in Roundtree and it's like so cutely decorated. Sending them like, hey, these are the upcoming like, dog lover events coming up, like party in the parks, whatever it is. Same thing with like golf. Oh, I like to highlight, there's tons of golf courses around this area. You can also do like highlights on them and send them out every single month or something. Say, hey, this is my featured golf course that I'm wanting to talk about. You can go down all the way down to Big Cedar. I mean, there's like freaking a dozen there now.
Who's a member at Hickory Hills? Let's go play.
Yeah, exactly. But it's, again, you're adding that value to them. You're giving them something other than just, do you want to buy or sell or invest, right? Remember, it's not set in stone. You can change these up anytime. You can remove them, you can add them. And it's flexible and will change as your database and your relationships continue to grow. People may belong in multiple segments, and that's totally fine. So if they're golf pickleballers, like if they're just super active, then cool. Potential additional segmentation could include, but not limit to, client, past client, VIP. VIP is typically what I think of as like, maybe they're a client that has come back multiple times, right? Like you've helped them buy or sell like 2 or 3 times. And it's maybe not just particularly them, maybe they got you connected with somebody else. And yeah, that is like a referral client, but maybe somebody who's like has a little bit more stature to that, right? It could also be your luxury listings. So specific hobbies and interests. But yeah, I always like to make sure that everyone understands that there's so many different options, and that's why I gave you guys this today, because get creative with it. If it's something that you have a passion for too, create a group and add them to it and send them an email every single month or something and say, hey, I'm planning on, like, I love to cycle. I'm planning on cycling once a month. We're gonna start at Kingdom Coffee, and then we're gonna go, which actually right now I think Secretota is like out of commission. I think that they have it blocked off right now. They're like redoing the road there, which needs to be done. But yeah, there's like bikers and stuff all the time. Actually, one of our agents, Tess Fry, she's a cyclist and she sends an email to her cycling group every single month. And that's something that they do together. Like, hey, we're gonna meet up on this day and this day. We're just gonna go cycle. Yeah, make it fun. Doesn't have to be something you don't like to do. Okay, communicating with your segment. So messaging should be relevant to your likes, dislikes, interests, or based on past interactions with you. Even though the words and topics of your messaging will change, there are some things that will remain constant no matter what segment you are communicating with. Your messaging matches the motivation of that segment, uncovers if they are able, ready, and willing, and the time frame they are looking to do business in includes a call to action. Elicits an immediate response, so direct or indirect. Obviously, if you're inviting them to something, then you want to get like, hey, make sure that you fill out this Google form and let me know with your email, so that way, or whatever. And then that way they know like, yes, I'm coming, or whatever. You can also put like, I'm gonna have water bottles, or I'm gonna have beverages for everybody. Make sure that you RSVP so I have enough for you. Tells the person receiving the message how to contact you, and it helps clients know why they would choose to contact you in the current market and what they get if they do. Obviously, if you're having that constant communication with them, then they're gonna be like, oh, I really wanna make sure I'm using them because I know I'm gonna keep getting this constant communication. So communicate with your database. This is called target marketing. Which is like touch campaigns, which we'll dig deeper into in lead follow-up segment. But it is obviously very targeted because you are putting them on the smart plans that are particular to their tags or segments. Okay, communicating with value. So here are just some ways. So like here, so these we talk about touches. I know if you've read like the MREA, then we talk about like how many times you should be touching your database every year. It was 33, now I think it's 36, and then James Shaw will tell you 100. So there's a lot of different information that we get. However, to start with, I definitely think that the 19 to like 40 range is really an easy sweet spot for our newer agents. Now, don't like, I mean, I guess quote me on it, it is recorded, but it can be tough to get your database up and running when you're new, right? And that's just how it goes. So that's why we do talk about like quarterly phone calls, making sure that you are putting everybody who's on your contact list or who's in your contacts on the quarterly call plan. Emails, monthly emails. So 12 per year, that's pretty simple. You can probably put together a pretty good newsletter. If you need help and you want to pay for one, Katya does a really great job. But that can be like market reports in that. It can be something so simple. Or like if you are wanting to send it out to all of your golfers, like, hey, this is my golf course that I've highlighted for the month. You can put all of that in there in one way. Promotional direct mail, magnets, calendars, printed marketing reports. I haven't had too much experience with this. However, just like if you were in team meeting on Tuesday, last Tuesday, Christina Ferrante, they have a print shop up at 417 Home Loans, or somebody that they partner with. And it's really inexpensive to get. She got like all these Chiefs schedule magnets created. I will tell you, I got a magnet in the mail and it's a monthly calendar and on the back has a recipe. It's from another MCTT that's in a different region. But I kept it. It's on my fridge that's underneath my desk. And I have ripped off those little recipes and I've kept them. So, because they actually looked really good. So you can do like good, easy promotional marketing like that. Swag. I mean, you can get like pens or koozies and stuff made. I can't tell you how many koozies I have at my house. However, I'm always needing one. So if I see one out and I'm having a beverage, I'm going to grab it. It's probably the easiest marketing. And you can get them for like $1 or less. Pretty inexpensive. And then another touch is an annual event, party, movie, screening, get-togethers. That kind of only goes for leads, but I think that you can integrate them with both, with contacts and your leads. But maybe with your contacts, especially when you get that relationship going and you are building those kind of one-on-one relationships with them, you should be doing probably more emails or texting communication with them, just because you do have more of that relationship already built. Any questions on communication with value? It does have a few other items of value. I don't know if you guys have these written, but obviously market statistics, like emailing those out weekly, that's pretty easy, and that's 52 touches. That's why James Shaw says you should send something out weekly. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's a lot of time and commitment. But if you make it easy and it's just market statistics, like, hey, how's the market? And you send an email. Seasonal prep checklist for homeowners. Obviously, we are about to hit winter. Obviously, we had some freeze last week. Bring in your mums. My mums got brought in. They're still alive, I think. I don't know. They were in the back of my husband's truck inside of our garage all weekend, and I think he just put them back out today. But bring in your mums, unhook your garden hoses, go get those. Well, this is something that's kind of nice for any of your previous clients from the year. Going and buying like those little protectors for their hose. I don't know what they're called.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you put it over where your hoses
It's like
go.
a styrofoam.
Yeah, they're super cheap. I think they're like $1 or $2. And if they were a past client from this year, now you might want to know how many hose hookups they have at their house. Because if you're only giving them one, and who knows what's gonna happen to their other one. I know me personally have 2. But it's just kind of a nice gift. Like, hey, just wanted to drop this by, maybe put a cute little sign or something on it, like.
Put a sticker with your information on it.
Exactly, so when people walk by, I mean, I hope they're not that close to your house though.
Oh, yeah.
If somebody was that close to my house, I would be freaked out because I live
I'm
on like an
just door
acre
knocking.
lot and I have a giant like circle drive. So I was like, if someone's up at my door, it's for a reason. Real estate forecasting data. Every convention, family reunion or mega camp, Gary does usually talk about state of the company and where things are going. You can always take information from that. Schedule of local events and festivals. Obviously, the fall, there's something going on every single weekend in the Ozarks or in the greater Springfield area. So a lot of really good ideas there. Oh, here's a couple more. Preferred vendor lists, Chamber of Commerce information, local points of interest, homestead exemption forms. I don't know.
Would you say
General
Chamber of
property.
Commerce?
Chamber of Commerce information. I don't know. They probably send something out to you guys too. I don't know.
That's what's it.
Yeah, cool. Questions on this stuff? Lots of different ways to communicate the value. That's what I'm just trying to get at. There's a lot of different ideas.
Sure.
And if you're looking at smart plans, there's a lot of great ideas inside of those. A lot of good ideas inside the library. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so do you see how a database becomes a data bank when you continually communicate matters of importance to the recipients? What naturally happens is you build relationships and continue to show value. What happens?
Sure. Developing relationships on the different levels to where they have top of mind awareness and they decide to use you or think of you when
Yep.
someone comes up in real estate.
Just they choose to do business with you. Oh, this is my favorite. Okay. What naturally happens when you build a database, consistently feed it, and neglect the communicating part?
You have a stagnant database.
You got a whole lot of pissed off people.
Exactly. It's a waste of time. It was a waste of your time. It's a waste of everything that you did, all those leads and stuff that you generated. There's no guarantee that people will think of you when you have a real estate lead. In other ways, your database is not your data bank if you are not communicating with them. Easiest thing to do, 4 calls per year. We talked about it already, for quarterly call plan. I know it can seem kind of scary. That's why I always say to put in that description just a couple of little trigger points. So then that way you have something to say. Holidays are coming up. Like, I don't know, just call and wish somebody a happy holidays. That goes a long way. And then be like, how have you been? Like, da 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 da. Happy birthdays, super easy. Summer, I mean, even the seasons, right? Like everyone has a favorite season. You can be like, oh, spring, like happy spring. Spring's my favorite season.
Every season's my favorite season.
There you go. And people have that, and it's just basically trying to get them to talk to you about it, and that's what makes sense. Cool. Any ahas about communicating with your database?
3 of my favorite seasons.
What?
3 favorite seasons.
3 favorite seasons, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many things,
Summer.
right? Sports, there's so, like, sports all throughout the year, like, I think hockey just started, baseball's ending, football's like continuing on, thank goodness. Yeah, all the good things that you can talk about. Of course, know that they like sports before you start talking about sports.
KW cares.
KW cares, yeah. Natural disaster is also a terrible thing to have to talk about, but unfortunately, it's something that we have had to run into. Okay, so the final law is servicing all the leads that come your way. So this will come in a form of a strong lead follow-up program, which you will get into on day 10 of Ignite, not technically with me. Since you'll be getting all the details then, today we will start with the basics. So who wants to read this quote?
Your job is to build a community and serve the community.
Absolutely. So a database is not only a container for container of information into your business. Gary Keller thinks of it this way: my job is to connect with you, put you in my database, and be your realtor for life. He thinks of his database as a community that he serves, and he adds, the size of your community is determined by you. It's a great reminder that real estate is a relationship business. So you can build your database as big as you want. If you only want 500 people in it, and those are the people that you're gonna service forever, totally fine. You don't have to have 5,000 people in your database. If your goal is only to sell X amount of houses per year, then you do the backwards math of, like, you know, our economic model. This is how much money I wanna make. This is how many appointments I need to go on. This is how many people I need to call. We just work backwards. Servicing your leads is a big part of building your community. So go ahead and turn to the service all leads page in your guide. What do you think it is most important to provide service to all? Why do you think it is important to provide service to all your leads?
They're all a referral source.
Yeah. Yeah, because if they're not followed up with, then they become someone else's referral source or someone else's lead, and source of income in business. Happens all the time. The biggest issue that our agents have is lead follow-up, even after they've already worked with them. Now, I get it. Sometimes you work with a client, you're like, I think we're good after this. You know, this was not the best transaction for anybody, and that's totally fine. So you can choose to go ahead and archive them, but don't archive everybody. I mean, you're not going to. You want to continue working that business. So, good things to service them with is knowing the source, so knowing how that lead was generated and making sure that you are calculating return on investment for your prospecting and marketing methods. So if these are more generic, then you're obviously your return on investment's really high, because what you did to get them is like 0. Making sure to track your relationship. So tracking your database, using your database to track conversations, interactions related to the transaction and relationship. So remember, we have that activities tracker or your notes part in your contacts. Rewarding your referrals. So that's why I also have a referral tag in there, because you can see that maybe you got 30% of your business from that quarter from referrals. Then you should also make sure that you are tagging the correct person into that contact, but making sure to have the actual tag as a referral. Then that way you can go back and track it. And then at the end of the year, you can be like, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Smith gave me 10 referrals this year. I should do something really nice for them. So don't wait for the closing. The reward will help encourage the behavior, allowing your database to feed itself with everybody who's referring that business. Command makes it easy to service all the people in your database with whatever the need is. You may follow up by adding more to the contact record, updating your tasks, launching additional smart plans, managing your referrals, and designing all sorts of marketing materials as well as your website. There is help for this again on KW Connect. Well, obviously there's tons and tons of resources for you guys to continue diving deeper with Command Your Database and all of that. Wow, that was a really short section. Love it. Any ahas?
Obviously staying more organized and spending a little bit more time on my lead. And getting more details, obviously along the way, ultimately makes it a better system that I can use, especially for the TV2.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if I don't implement and put things together and have a strategy or behind it, then it's just gonna be something sitting on my reminder list until I start taking a course of action to it, so.
Your task list that you open up on command every day is your to-do list. And if you don't have at least 5 people to call or text message a day, then gotta figure that out.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so KW training gets better with feedback. I don't know if anyone's been doing KWU evals. Okay. KW Care is getting involved, so obviously we've been talking about this a lot recently because of natural disasters that have been coming up. You can donate to this either through these QR codes. You can find a lot of that information everywhere. And you can also find it whenever you have a transaction, then there is a spot that you can donate to. It's really important. We also do have one personally. It's KW Springfield Cares, same thing, but more local for our market center only. KW Next Gen, so this is something that Gary started at KWRI. It's another 501c3 nonprofit. So the biggest training that comes out of it is Quantum Leap. Rachel taught it this year. She'll probably teach it again. I just don't know when, especially because she's gonna have a baby. So trying to figure out if she wants to do it again before the end of the year. But I really like Quantum Leap. It's a great way to kind of look inside yourself and really help you if you haven't determined your one thing or you value your proposition or something like that. But it's also not just business related. It's just personal goal life related. So it's really, really nice. It's awesome. Okay, I'm just gonna do a quick review, which was, okay, so now you have the tools and systems to create your business database, understand the value of your database, and will commit to maximizing how to use it. You can continue to build and feed your database and begin to communicate with and service the people in it. An important step to take now that you have an understanding of the tools, if you haven't done this already, is begin to build and feed your business database. So taking action on this today, basically, you already know, add the contacts, update the contacts with the information that you need, putting them on a system or creating a system for all of your leads, your contacts. One thing that's really cool is like trusting in your database. So don't getting discouraged. It can take time, like I've already kind of talked about. It does take time to get some of those contacts to an actual transaction. So making sure that you don't get discouraged if your database is not immediately yielding the results you expect. Don't quit too soon. It can take 2 to 3 years sometimes to see a significant return. Eventually your database will start to reward you. It can take over a year of contacting people using 36 Touch to see consistent results. And think in a mindset of long-term. So National Association of Realtors tells us that currently people are moving about every 7 to 10 years. That's gone up. Like it used to be about 3 to 5. And this is a brand new stat with it. So in the last couple of years, this has changed from 3 to 5 to 7 to 10. I know I've lived in my house currently for 4 years. I don't have any plans on moving. So just thinking about that and coming from care and compassion and just like making people know that you will have the best interest in them or the best interest in you. That's what's going to help establish that trust with those potential clients. And then of course your real estate business is a relationship built business. Cool. Does anybody have any ahas for everything we talked about today or any additional questions?
Well, like you just said, that people are staying in their house longer, that kind of cuts the market in half with the number of transactions. Because if they were 3 to 5.
Yeah.
And then 7 to 10, I mean, it really.
Yeah,
So-
I will tell you that our market center, we have consistently been doing over 5,000 transactions since 2020. We are not going to hit 5,000 this year. It's just, that's just how it is. And so we talk about, you have to do the work in order to get that return.
And specifically in normal market, ideally, what's an average yearly transaction that you would hold prior to the, COVID was a fluke in the market. I mean, we're never gonna have rates happen like that ever again.
Mhm.
So understanding that, I mean, it was around the 2,000 to 3,000 point transactions a year. Normal
We were
transactions.
closer to the 4.
Closer to 4.
Which is where we're probably gonna hit end up this year. We were talking about it this morning, actually, in our meeting, and we have actually gone back, so like when we, KW is awesome because you can actually pull your own reports, which are called like monthly-year trends. And you can do like your year over year and like everything after you've been in the business for a year. You can see exactly how many transactions, how much your sales price was, like averaging all of that. We have actually gone back to tracking based on 2019 to now. So yes, we still do our 2023. We do keep all of our columns and stuff, and we are matching it to that. But we've also added our 2019 column because we have to go back to before 2020.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good.
I think that's the reason, well, like, 70% of people are under 5% rate. So unless your rentals, retirees, or relocating for your job.
Yeah.
Those are the big 30%
Right.
of people that are looking for homes right now. If you got a 2.5% on a 30-year note, it doesn't make sense.
No.
Yeah.
Well, and it's interesting, we talk, sometimes you'll see some agents, they'll post out and be like, who's currently renting and what is your current like monthly payment? Because it's very possible that they can get the same amount of house or the same, square footage, same area, whatever it is, and they could potentially save maybe even like $100 a month or something like that. And if we also have to talk about it with like interest rates, sometimes an interest rate, even if it's like 1% differences, like how much is that really actually mattering in the long run? How much is it actually adding to their monthly payments to have 0.5% increase of it or more of an interest rate than it was 3 months ago, or what it's going to be down the line? So it's like, we say, what is it? Marry the house, date the rate type thing, because you can always refinance after a while if something does go down. And I think that's something that I had a conversation with somebody a few weeks ago. We were actually at bingo at Metropolitan Grill, and she was like, yeah, we've been looking to like buy, but I just don't think it makes sense for us right now. Like the interest rates are too high. But I'm like, well, what have you spoke to a lender? Like they have to just go talk to somebody. And that's why you have to be that professional in this market and in this business.
1% doesn't sound like much, but it's actually $200 at a $300,000 note.
Okay.
I mean, that's a big chunk.
It is. It can be. But what if they're already paying $2,000 for their rental?
Well, sure. We're talking about interest rates though.
But that's why like some of our agents, they'll say like, how much are you paying in rent right now? And then they could potentially be paying less in a monthly payment and actually owning their home.
Right.
Instead of renting. But yeah, it's just making sure that we're the experts of it, right? So make sure that you're plugging in to all of our team meetings, sales meetings. Like if you're gonna come to one thing a week, highly recommend those because we do talk about them. We've got some really cool stuff coming in the new year, just awesome ideas that's really gonna help you and your businesses. And then of course, make sure that you're working through the 4 laws of a database every single day. Every single day. Cool. If there's nothing else, hold on. I think I have to set you up for like your next one. Taking the time to reflect on what you've learned is important in building your confidence and celebrating your growth. We'll do this activity after each learning session so you can track your learning journey. So these are just questions and stuff. I believe you probably have them in your books, right? And then of course we talk about our success system. So making sure that we are having the 10 conversations a day, adding 10 contacts, 10 handwritten cards, 10-5-1 social media engagement. I'm not gonna stay down here for that, just because I do have a call that I have to be on, so that's why I had a pretty hard stop today. But we've all been at least trying to do this at least every day, or like making sure we're getting in the 50 per week. Right now, Brent, you're new to this, so there you go. So 10 conversations, 10 contacts, 10 handwritten cards, you can get them upstairs at the front desk.
Cool, thank you.
Love it, cool. Don't forget TCPA, friendly and compliant way. Do not call us, and of course, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. Love it. Oh, I think this is supposed to be your affirmation. I think it's at the end of every single one. So I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. I guess write that down and put it on your mirror.
I have enough things in my mirror right now.
I know. Don't forget though, you can get help with Command and Connect. Answers.kw.com is my favorite. And just make sure that you are doing your conversations and your note cards if you want to. It's an easy way to kind of get, your information out there. Oh, capture leads with open houses is tomorrow. I don't know who's teaching it tomorrow, but that'll be a really good one too. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Nicole.
Thanks, everyone online.
And I will try and be here Monday,
Okay.
next Monday then.
Okay. Well, and you and I can also, hold on.